Today, officers who were assaulted on the day of the January 6th Capitol insurrection, they're now filing a lawsuit to stop the president's so-called anti-weaponization fund that would compensate some of those rioters. The suit claims the creation of the fund is the, quote, most brazen act of presidential corruption this century. One of the officers behind that lawsuit joins me now, Metropolitan Police Officer Daniel Hodges. He is appearing in his personal capacity. It's good to see you. So let's just begin with the why it was so important for you to take this to court.
Well, it feels so obvious that it's difficult to find the words to explain why. Like, why should the federal government pay millions and millions of dollars to these people that tried to usurp democracy here? Why should we pay them millions and millions of dollars for attacking me and my colleagues, causing deaths, violence, destruction? And why should we pay people who had their day in court, and many of whom pled guilty to these crimes? It doesn't make any sense to me, and I just hope that we're able to stop it.
For a long time now, it has felt like there has been this political pressure to rewrite our memories of that day. But this seems like a next stage, a next level, where now taxpayers, everyday Americans, have to fund and finance that new memory, that new narrative as well. Do you feel personally betrayed?
I mean, there's plenty of people who support the truth and about what happened that day, and I'm very grateful for everyone's support. There are those, predictably, who do not support the truth, people who do not have, the personal integrity to go against the political grain of their party or what is convenient for them. And I never had their support, so in a way, I'm not betrayed by them, because they were never for the defense of democracy. They're for Donald Trump and everything he represents. So in that way, I'm not betrayed. But it's sad that so many Americans can't confront the reality of what transpired on the 6th, and that they are more comfortable living with these lies about what they want to believe happened. So it's not exactly a betrayal, but it's not a good thing either.
What do you think is behind that? I mean, we were able to watch January 6th with our own eyes. I think most Americans have a memory of where they were. Certainly all of my colleagues who were on the ground will never forget the things they experienced, they heard and felt that day. I know that your life was in danger. For people who, I guess, have tried to wipe that memory away, or who now want to look back and see January 6th as something else, can you bring us back to reality?
Sure, yeah. I think you asked why people look at it that way, and it's because that they consider themselves patriots, and it's so integral to their identity, their sense of self, that to confront the reality of what they did and what they've supported that day would be to unmake themselves. And that's very difficult for anyone to do in the best of circumstances. And so that they find more comfort in believing the lies, that they were in the right, that the election was stolen, that all these conspiracies are true, and that the violence was justified, even if it's obviously not the case. So that's why they persist in this delusion. Yeah.
One of my colleagues, Laura Barón López, was reporting just moments ago that there's a real possibility and concern among some experts that extremists will use this money to fund new weaponry, further extremist activity domestically here in the U.S. What are you concerned could be the real life impacts for the country, but also for yourself as someone who has already been targeted by these people?
Sure, yeah. I mean, this is a cohort that's already demonstrated that they are not opposed to extreme violence to achieve their ends, no matter how illegal or unethical. So they've already gotten, permission from the government. So they've gotten pardons, and Trump has made it clear that he has their back no matter what. They have no legal barrier, they have no ethical barrier, because they've already made it clear where their priorities lie. And with this money, they would have no resource barrier. So they would be able to fund, supplies, personnel, logistics, anything else they need to carry out any kind of future attack on me, my fellow colleagues, and the government, anyone that they deem an appropriate target. So I think it's incredibly important that we prevent this transfer of the American taxpayer dollars to this group of, violent extremists.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche is about to, any moment now, give a press conference. It's not about this, but there's a chance that reporters will have an opportunity to ask him questions about this. What would you want to hear from him?
I mean, this administration has already completely obliterated any concept that they might be acting, in good faith with integrity. So I don't really care what he has to say. He's already demonstrated where his loyalties lie, and it's not with the United States, it's with Donald Trump. So he can say what he wants, and we'll do what we can to stop it.
And what do you make of some of the Republican figures who've come forward and asked some questions about this, like the Senate Majority Leader saying that he's no big fan of this? I spoke earlier with Bill Kristol and others about how that seemed to stop short of a very full-throated condemnation of it, but at least it seems like they're acknowledging a level of discomfort or displeasure at the idea of all of this. Is there something you want to hear from them, from lawmakers who are in a position to actually talk to and push this president?
Yeah, you have to keep in mind that every single day, every single minute, we are dealing with the insanity of this administration is a choice. It is a choice by the Republican Party. So when they say they're concerned, but then they don't do anything, they're not actually concerned. They have the power to impeach Donald Trump, to impeach all these bad actors today. But they're not going to do it because they don't really believe that what they're doing is wrong. They just want to look like they're concerned so they can get enough votes so they can keep their jobs. But they have the power to stop this right now, and they're not going to.
Daniel Hodges, thank you so much for sharing some of your story, for speaking out about this lawsuit. I know it cannot be easy to have to relive this time and time again. Thank you.